Well, the wait is over. The most anticipated cabinet to date, Time Crisis. We've been waiting forever for this cabinet. It's a pricey cabinet, and there's no doubt about that. We're gonna break this down, do a review, do some comparisons. And dare I say, this is the best cabinet from Arcade1up yet. Here's my review for Time Crisis.
Time Crisis.
Time Crisis comes in as the highest Arcade1up cabinet, 70 inches, 5'10". And this might be the furthest any cabinet comes out at 28¼ inches. And while we're on the control panel, 35 inches from the front is where that slant starts going up. And very standard for your deluxe cabinet, just under 19 inches wide. Now you do have the cords hanging here, and this, it reminds you of the Terminator 2 if you had that cabinet, if you didn't put the cords through here. Not sure how this is going to work, but for right now they are hanging out front. You can see a nice shot of that control panel, nice and red, very shiny looking, very smooth. Great Time Crisis logo underneath. On top of that molded coin door, and then the step on it, your pedal, which we'll go over in a second, but I just want to talk about the coin door. The first red flag that I want to say about this, for the price is $749, which I might have a justifiable twist near the end of this review, but it just would be nice if those coin doors lit up. It does have that nice chrome finish for Arcade1up. It's a great looking molded coin door. It's just, guys, what can we do to get these to light up? Now when I was putting this together, I said, wow, that bezel's really plain. Really reminded me of that first look we got at Time Crisis, the prototype, that everyone was kind of joking it was the banana. It does have this nice layout right here, and actually one of the boards, when you're putting those little dowel pins in, this is one of them, and you flip it around, you're like, oh my gosh, there's artwork on here. It's interesting the way this came together. Had a lot of Ridge Racer vibes when I was putting this together, but as plain as this looks, it is nice to see this here.
We don't have much time. Get into the castle and rescue Rachel.
It's interesting that, when Terminator 2 came, the blue was player 1, the red was player 2. You're getting the red for player 1, which I'm okay with. The guns themselves, they are a little thin, they're a little light. You see the thickness of those cords. I expected something a little bit closer to a Sinden. It does the job. It works great on here. You can see how that's showing up right now, even with the light pretty much shining right on this screen. But I was kind of hoping it'd be a little more thicker plastic, a little hardcore, but it does do the job. The look of the blue gun, and you do see that Arcade1up logo. Now I did turn the recoil off. I'll turn it on for some gameplay in a little bit, but if it's just you want to keep that sanity with your loved ones, you might want to turn the recoil off. It does get a little loud, a little annoying at times, but the guns do the job. I just expected them a little thicker, but it is a home arcade, right? You can see the inside holsters here. It's just, there's no hole, they slip right in. It's a perfect fit. It's cool to see these on the ends. And there's a special feature we're going to show you at the end of this video about these guns. But nice look at the control panel. It's a nice looking cabinet. Shot of the grills. And this is the first time we're not seeing it all black. You do have that yellow, so it does stand out. Right now is at 2. We'll go all the way up to 15. And I'll tell you what, 15 is pretty loud. And the game does give you some direction here, if you've never played before, on when to step on that pedal, which, while we're talking pedal, it's sturdy, you know, for plastic. And I do think there's a piece of metal inside of here, but it is a step up from certain racing pedals we've seen. There's some anti-slip on the bottom. I mean, at least they're giving you something, because I was just kind of under the impression we're going to get pedals like you see under Ridge Racer, something under the Star Wars Buy Stuff mod. It is definitely a step up from those pedals. This should work pretty good for your home arcade. I do like that step on it, but it is sturdy. You can see how much higher it is than Pac-Man. And this is an XL cabinet, this is the Deluxe. And it is Marquee. Like, make no mistake about it, the height of this cabinet, look at the T2 topper way in the back over here. Like, you know, when you're saying, well, you know, it's just the topper, it's just the Marquee, but it just adds such a unique look to this. I was upset that the monitor wasn't as high as Terminator 2's. It's actually not as high as Fast and Furious's, but it's higher than Mortal Kombat 2. But if they went any higher, and we could, I'll tell you what right now, you could do a 19-inch screen. You could put a 20-inch screen in here. Like, it will make a little bit of a difference. You know, you won't have that gap right here. But if they would have raised this up, the Marquee would have came up even higher. I got a ceiling fan right here. Like, you could just imagine, it's already 70 inches. 5'10". This thing's taller than I am. Like, how high do we really want this going up? I mean, again, look at Pac-Man. I think this is livable. And if you're super tall, you're just going to have to put something under here. You're going to have to figure out, maybe Buy Stuff makes a riser booster, maybe make something on your own, you put it on a platform, but it's a really tall cabinet. Just comparing it to X-Men, you see the screw holes on the side of the cabinet. At least with the Deluxe, the XL, you can see Pac-Man behind here. They give you the screw cap covers, and I know this is cheap, we could do this ourselves, but it's just something, it's a nice added touch that they do give you different colors. You can see the jeans, the red, and the black, along with the white on top. So you're not going to see any bullet holes. Kind of be fitting for Time Crisis. Kind of a fun fact when you're following the directions. You think you're going to put together, when it's an XL or a Deluxe, you put together the bottom. You put the base. I expected to put this together, then your main part, you know, your main part here, your body. Actually, it had you do the Marquee first, so you built this whole box. And the Marquee is one piece, and it slides in here. It's a little confusing, but it really reminded me of Ridge Racer. And if you just take your time, you get this together. I think the next step was the control panel, and then it was the bottom, the main part, and everything just came together. And I mean, it's just interesting how you fasten this onto the cabinet. One of the last things that I did. But it's an impressive looking cabinet. Yeah, it was interesting putting this together. Just take your time if you're interested in Time Crisis, because it's not going to be like any cabinet you're used to. You can see Street Fighter 2 over here. Big Blue. Like, these totally get assembled differently than how Time Crisis did. Just staying on Street Fighter 2 quick, the control panel, the bottom part right here at the bottom of the slant was 35 inches from the floor. Actually, Big Blue, same height where that control panel is, 36 inches from the floor. You can see the Deluxe is higher, MK2 is higher, the XL, same height. So there's some very strong comparisons in that Ridge Racer and Big Blue cabinet when they created this. And Terminator 2, 59 inches. And you can kind of see here, Terminator 2's got an inch on Fast and Furious. About 55 inches from the floor, the top of this corner, you are an inch shorter than Fast and Furious. Mortal Kombat 2, 52 inches, the top of that corner. So I'm not going to complain about the monitor. It works for me. I just think if you are taller, you're gonna have an issue with it. It's not the shortest. The coin door does sit a lot lower. You can see where the XL Pac-Man and Mortal Kombat 2 Time Crisis, really low coin door. You know, you don't want to cover up that logo. I guess it'd be hard to put it right here, but it is just a little bit above that step on it. If you do pick this up and you're going to do the build, very tight fits, getting that marquee in here and getting that control panel. You know, you don't want to scratch anything, but it does sit right inside of there. You can see that it sits in the you know, we're measuring the side to side is 19 inches. So this is just under 19 inches because it's squeezed in here. And again, the last thing I wanted to do was mess up any of the T-molding trying to fit it in here, because you know, you're in a hurry you want to put it together, but you know, just kind of lining up everything, very tight fit. So just be careful. And when you peel that plastic off, man, does that stand out before it was even lit up. It's a great marquee. Great BOE. I mean, you can see how clear this picture is. Steel Gunner 1 is playing. Great looking screen. You do get that white border. Takes a little bit away from it. But I can tell you, if you're standing in front of this, you're playing, you're not going to notice the white border. I mean, you're going to totally focus on this game. And this is pretty much what you'll be seeing. Now, everything you do, you'll have to use the gun. So if you have T2, if you have Big Buck Hunter, you're used to this. Put in a username, sign up to your router. You're going to have to use, you know, you're going to have to target in everything. But going into the settings, not a lot to really change. There are updates, music you can change. Can't do any scan lines, so you are going to get that HD quality picture. We'll check out some gameplay in the 4 games. We'll start with the headline game, Time Crisis.
Action! Action!
Now if you do want the recoil on, remember it's off now. If you hold this button down right here, now holding the trigger, we'll play around with the recoil. And to just go back to not having the recoil, hold that down and just move it back. No more noise. If you do have the Terminator 2 cabinet, you can actually hook up your Terminator 2 guns to the Time Crisis. And I've been dying to try this on Steel Gunner. This would be a perfect gun to use for this game. Just taking player 1 out, plugging the T2 gun in. See, it's a perfect fit. And I did forget that the red gun is player 2 on Terminator 2, so it did have to plug into player 2 on Steel Gunner, so the blue gun is the red gun for T2. But it does work. I can't get the recoil to work, but the gun does work. Just using player 2. How does the blue gun work? Perfect. It is nice that it does give you that option, like you don't have to always use player 1. If you want to decide to use player 2, just go on player 2's side. Definitely a lot of value though with Time Crisis. Only thing I wish that you just saw in Steel Gunner, you could see the target. I wish we had that in Time Crisis. I know that's not arcade accurate, but you know, it is a home arcade and it'd be cool to see that, but you're gonna have to be dead on when you're shooting the targets. You're just not gonna be able to see that actual target looming around like you would in Steel Gunner 1 and 2. Comparison to Terminator 2. When T2 came out, $6.99, you're getting the 1 game and you're getting a video. Time Crisis, $7.49, 4 games though. Time Crisis, Steel Gunner 2, and Point Blank. Is that enough value there? You're getting the 1 game. And you know, no one's watching that video. I've never watched the video on there. Why would you, right? Heck, I even modded my T2, and it's not even T2 anymore. It's the Retro Shooter Buy Stuff Kit. There's value with Time Crisis. I'm not going to tell you to spend $7.49 on this. Here's another comparison to Ridge Racer. When Ridge Racer came out, they gave us 5 games. $6.99. In those 5 games, there were 2 first-person views and 3 third-person views. I always prefer the third-person views. I modded that cabinet also. I did put the Buy Stuff Racing mod in there, and it gave it a lot more replayability. I had a hard time playing some of those racing games. Great cap. But the 4 games that they're giving us on Time Crisis, these are excellent games. I mean, I really got to admit, the only thing they could have did to make this better, besides giving us a cheaper price, and just, you know, in aesthetics, like a light up coin door and stuff like that. I mean, we can do that ourselves. If they put Time Crisis 2 on here, that would have been a grand slam. But I gotta tell you, I really love this cabinet. I think they did a great job. It looks great. You know, it's a unique shooting cab. Oh yeah, I forgot that you don't have to use the pedal. You can also press this button. You're gonna have this on the red controller along with the blue controller, as you can see. So my closing thoughts before we do our outro is, I love the cabinet. I mean, how can you go wrong with another light gun cabinet, a dedicated shooting? It's got a great pedal. The guns, I did say, you know, the plastic was thin, but they are a step up. from the Terminator 2 guns. They're just light, but it is a home arcade. I just want to keep that in mind. And just going back to Terminator 2, originally $6.99, the one game for $50 more. Actually might have said $150. I was thinking about Fast and Furious at $5.99. $50 more. You get 3 more games, and they're great games. It's your money. You know, I kind of sound like J.G. Wentworth. You spend it how you want to spend it, and I think there's a lot of value with Time Crisis. I mean, let's face it. This does look really good in your arcade. Right next to a Pac-Man, a Mortal Kombat 2, or a Street Fighter 2, or 2 of them. I had to go over some negatives. I'm not going to be all positive about every cabinet we get. As excited as I am about this cabinet, I mean, you can just see, I keep pointing this out, like how much higher it is than the Pac-Man XL, higher than Big Blue, stands higher than Terminator 2 if you count out the fact of that Joe Sabo's Terminator topper. This is a great cabinet. There's flaws though. I mean, again, the coin door could have lit up. The guns could have been a little bit more quality, but you know, it's a good gun. It does kind of rattle when you shake it, but you know, I'm happy with these guns. I'm just giving you the pros and cons in this review. You're gonna spend $749 at Shop Hippo. Now, if you go somewhere like Walmart, you might pay sales taxes, but I think this drops maybe a $5.99 price down the road. But what I want to reiterate is because of the shape of this cabinet, it does remind me a lot of my Ridge Racer cabinet that I don't have anymore, but 5 games came on there. And if I loved those games that much, I would have never modded it and put the gaming box in there. This cabinet, these 4 games, I'm not going to mod this. Like, I'm going to leave this stock. I'm happy with these games. There's other ways to get games, shooting games at home. You don't have to get a dedicated cabinet, but if you want to add something like this into your arcade, I highly recommend Time Crisis if you can swing it. If you want to wait for a deal, wait for a deal. I love the cabinet. I think they did a great job. There are some things that I wish they could have improved on though. Thanks for watching, everybody. I really appreciate it. I hope you got what you could out of this review. Maybe a little more cons than pros, but when it comes to a dedicated light gun cabinet, a racing cabinet, a flight cabinet, I'm always going to jump on it because why wouldn't you want to bring that home? Well, thank everybody for watching. I'll see you guys next time.